Hello, and welcome to the review of this wonderful Fontaine Carnet Design sketchbook. The one I have is a 5, or exactly 14.8 by 21 centimeters. It is ASCII-free, pH neutral, therefore archivable. It has 40 sheets, which makes up 80 pages, and it has 140 grams per square meter. It claims to be mixed media and ideal for sketching, ink, and gouache resistant. It is in a price range, I looked it up, between 11 and 14 Swiss francs, 13.37 to 17.02 US dollars, or 11.75 to 14.95 euros. Cover is made up from brown paper, and the corners are rounded, and the signatures are usually like 2 sheets, therefore for papers, which makes it good for like laying relatively flat. So onto the materials. I shall blend in a sheet with timestamps. The Fineliners are nice and dark. There's no ghosting or bleeding. The alcohol markers bleed onto the next page, however there's no feathering and it blends alright. It does also not suck too much ink out of the nib, like some papers do. Overall, a pretty decent way of taking markers for it not being a marker sketchbook or claiming to handle them. You will just have to cover the next page. Then for watercolors, it buckles a lot, but if you just leave it sitting afterwards, it will flatten out over time, like when you close the sketchbook. And I'm sure if you would put a weight on it, it would go away entirely. I don't personally mind if it does that. I think it adds a lot of nice volume to the sketchbook. However, it only is okay with a few layers before like starting to pill. There's, however, no ghosting or bleeding, which that sometimes does happen with watercolor. It's rare, but it happens. The color pencils are smooth, seem layerable, blendable, and there's a slight texture from the paper. Now this is also up to preference if you enjoy that or not. Acrylics also warp the paper a bit. It works fine, there's no real issues, because it is like thicker paint, unless you water it down. It also does not tear the paper as the watercolor does. acrylic warps and peels like watercolor, it is alright. You just have to be mindful of how you layer it. If that irks you, I may suggest a watercolor sketchbook for inks. For gouache, it does also warp the paper and has the same effect as watercolors if you use it thinly. However, if you use it more thickly, it works quite well, and more so like the acrylic does, so not really affecting the paper too much. Masking tape and washi tape leave a rather clean peel, and so far for me it has not torn up the paper, and I tested this also another time outside of the video. Still did not rip it up, so that's a good one. That usually kind of tends to happen. For ballpoint pens, it performs just like smooth, buildable. This also kind of depends on the pen you're using, but like I'm very familiar with the pen I used, and it just performed nicely and usually. There's not much to say about pens, to be honest. Water-based markers, they also do pill the paper a little bit, like the watercolor, because it's moist, obviously. There's some slight like lighter spots if you look really closely at it, like white little speckles, but they're very faint and little. It's honestly not the worst I've ever seen, and it was fine for me. They do also blend into each other. I use Tombos for reference. They tend to be able to blend, even though being water-based markers. I don't know for any other markers, but they work fine. Gel pens perform normal, smooth, no ghosting, just like a regular gel pen would. Like they perform like on most other papers. There's nothing really to be said about them. Charcoal works well, but it does really not want to stay on the paper. Now I know fixatives exist, but a lot of papers already hold the charcoal better because it's not too textured. There's not much for it to grip onto. It also won't like get too dark because, as I said, there's not much for it to like properly grab onto. Yeah, I don't mainly use charcoal, but if you do, I would probably suggest a different sketchbook. For pencils, they are layerable and blendable. They erase well, and you can get rather many different values. However, darks are a little bit harder to achieve because of the missing texture. It does work. If you're mainly a pencil artist, I may also suggest a different sketchbook, like for the charcoal. Hey, this is me in the future, actually at the end of the sketchbook. Just wanted to pop right back in to show you how it held up, I suppose. Sketchbook tour coming soon, by the way. Despite the cover being made from paper, it actually held up pretty well. Of course, it's a little bit beaten. But in comparison to other sketchbooks I've used with paper covers, they usually after a month or two in my school bag, they would start ripping in the crease where the cover will soon actually come off. I don't see that happening here yet. It's a paper sketchbook after all. It will probably do that at one point. That's just how it is with paper covers, I feel like. Now let me show you another thing I've noticed. Seems like through the moisture of wet media in the sketchbook, the glue kind of slightly started dissolving, which made the binding come apart a bit. And also probably because I stuck in a lot of stuff, and through the wet media the paper also gained in volume by being all crinkly. I don't think it would fall apart soon. It would at one point though. So in general, I really enjoyed the sketchbook. It also worked with most media I regularly use. I usually use water-based markers, pencils, liners, gel pens, ballpoint pens, and watercolor. Those are my main things I use in my sketchbooks. It also held up pretty well with other stuff, as you've probably seen. If you're someone that fills up sketchbooks slowly and puts it in their bag a lot and mainly uses media, I would not recommend this. I would go for a watercolor sketchbook because the paper is not great for watercolor, but you can make it work. Yeah, just saying FYI. Now if you enjoy sketchbook reviews, sketchbook videos, any other art, content, and creative shenanigans, or you just think I'm funny somehow, maybe consider subscribing. That would be very nice. And even if not, I really hope to see you again. And until then, I wish you a wonderful time. Bye!